Hello, my dear learners. I welcome you all in the lecture series of Database Management System. In my last few lectures, I have started discussing with you about ER diagram. And we have seen what are the different types of attributes, what are the different types of entity. And the last but not the least, which is remaining, is the relationship. Because without relationship, data doesn't have any meaning. So we have to know what are the different types of relationship possible among different data items. Now, data is stored as entity, so we will see what are the different types of relationship possible in between the entities. Because ultimately, we have to translate this entity attribute relationship in table structure. That will be also a very interesting lecture. So before that, we must know what are the different types of relationship possible. So our today's topic of discussion is relationship cardinalities. So let's start and stay tuned.
Okay, let me recapitulate what we have learned so far very briefly. See, we have learned what is an entity and what is an attribute. Like over here in this diagram, teacher is an entity, isn't it? Because about teacher, we want to keep information, and the behavior or characteristics of the teacher is represented by the attributes. So in this picture, teacher ID, qualification and skill are attribute that we have also learned. Also, we have learned that what is a relationship? It is nothing but some interaction between different entities. So how various entities interact with each other or associated with each other. Like you can see, teacher is associated with the student by a particular verb, which is teaches. So teaches is the relationship, and the relationship symbol is given by this rhombus or diamond, whatever you call it. This part already we have covered in our previous lectures. Now I will tell you what is a relationship in much more details. Now, when drawing relationship, basically there are two indicators. Means what? Means we have got relationship cardinality. Don't worry, we will understand cardinality in much more details in this lecture itself. And the second indicator is, well, the relationship is optional or mandatory. Okay, so this is the other indicator. So for identifying relationship, two things you must understand. One is the cardinality of the relation, and the second one is optional or mandatory relationship, whether it is a optional or mandatory relationship. Now, what do we mean by relationship cardinality? Cardinality is nothing but a number. It represents one instance of first entity or table is related to how many instances of the second entity. Okay. Basically, there are three possible basic cardinality. 1 is to 1, 1 is to n, m is to n, where m and n can be thought of as one or more. Okay. So, I will right now explain cardinality with examples. As I have told you, there are three possible cardinalities. 1 is to 1, 1 is to n, and m is to n. We will understand them separately. Next comes mandatory and optional participation in ER diagram. Now, what we mean by mandatory, or sometimes it is called total participation, it specifies that each entity in the entity set, means in the table, each row must compulsorily participate in at least one relationship instance. And this is called total or mandatory participation. Then what is partial or optional participation? It's just the reverse. That means each entity or the row in the entity set or the table, it may or may not participate in the relationship instance in that relationship set. Let me give you an example of mandatory or total relationship. As you can see from this diagram, student is enrolled. Any student who has come to our institute, he will be or she will be enrolled in a course, right? So it is a mandatory relationship that student, whenever he has become a student, that means definitely he has enrolled in some course in our college, right? So you can see from here, I have given a double line, which is showing the mandatory or total relationship. Okay. And the optional or partial participation is shown by this single line. Okay. So a mandatory or total relationship is shown by double line. This is one notation. And in this notation itself, the optional or partial relationship is shown by single line. Or I can show these two types of participation in some other symbols. In crow's foot notation, because in some books you will get this crow's foot notation, there a mandatory relationship is shown by a line perpendicular to the relationship line, while an optional relationship is shown by an empty circle, like student and course. Same example I have shown in using different symbol. Student must have enrolled in some course. That's why I have given a line perpendicular to the relationship line, while an optional relationship is given by this empty circle. So there are two notation, but I will tell in my students, and I'll also follow the same symbol, which is the first one. That means I will show the mandatory relationship or total participation relationship by double line and partial or optional participation by a single line. I will not use this notation, but in some books you may find this notation. Now we will see the different types of relationship cardinality. First, we will start with one-to-one relationship. When a single instance, it is defined like this, when a single instance of an entity is associated with a single instance of another entity, then it is called a one-to-one cardinality. So here basically you can see staff and contract. Now staff means who has been given some contract in my organization. Now one staff is assigned to only one contract, isn't it? Whenever that staff has taken some job in my institute, he has or she has got some single contract only. So a staff is assigned to one contract. That's why you can see that a single staff is related to one contract. So one comes here. Okay. And a contract would be assigned to a single staff, because a single contract is valid for only one staff. It is valid for only that staff only. So this one comes. So we can call this is a 1:1 relationship. Now, as you can see, a staff, definitely whenever he is coming to an organization, he has to be assigned to a single contract. But maybe that staff is not a contractual staff, isn't it? So there is a partial participation. But if there is a contract, you can see the double line over here, which indicates, this double line indicates that whenever you have designed a contract, definitely that contract will be assigned to a staff. So there is a total participation. Understood? So this is called one-to-one relationship or one-to-one cardinality. Now we will see one-to-many relationship. Again, it is defined as when a single instance of an entity is associated with more than instance of another entity, then it is called one-to-many cardinality. Like a department can have many computers. Okay. So you can see this aim comes over here. A single department can have multiple computers. So this aim comes here. Again, a single computers would be assigned to a single department. That's why this one comes here. And both of them has got optional participation, because a department may or may not have computer. Again, if you have some computer, that computer may or may not be assigned to a department also. It may be a personal computer of the employees, isn't it? So there is a partial participation in both the sides. So this is called 1:m cardinality. Okay, always the left hand side is pronounced first. So it is 1 and then it is m. 1:m cardinality. Now we will see the reverse of 1:m relationship, which is many to one or m:1 relationship. As you can see from this diagram, a single department, there is a department and building. These two entities are there. And a single department can be located only in a single building. So this one comes over here, which indicates that means one department is related to only one building. That's why this one. But one building is related to how many departments? Since a single building can have many departments, so I can say that one building is related to M departments. So this M comes over here. So understood, this M is to 1 cardinality is given this relationship. That relationship cardinality is M is to 1. It indicates this, that a single department can be located in a single building, but a building can have many departments. So this is M is to 1 cardinality. Now we will see what is M is to N relationship. Here the definition is, here more than one instance of an entity is associated with more than one instance of another entity. So it is called many to many. Like a single student will be enrolled in multiple courses, isn't it? So this one single instance of student is related to how many courses? Multiple. So this N comes over here. Then a single course has multiple students enrolled in it. That means a single course is related to how many students? M. So we can call that this is an M is to N cardinality. Understood? This is called M is to N cardinality. Okay, so with this, I'm concluding my lecture, and definitely you have learned relationship cardinality and relationship participation in details. And also, my dear students, you must have noticed the single line and double line as I have indicated in each and every diagram. Always remember that double line indicates total participation, single line indicates optional or partial participation. Okay, so with this, I'm concluding my lecture. I will see you in my next lesson. Thank you so much.